At Next Health, our executive physical goes way beyond a traditional physical. When doctors are trying to find the diagnosis, once you have the disease, we're about trying to identify it many years in advance. In fact, we look at what's on the inside as well as what's on the outside. For most doctors, you may actually leave your doctor's office with normal cholesterol, normal blood pressure, and all the parameters may appear normal. However, what if you have symptoms like bloating or gas, or your bowels don't work as well? What if you wake up and your joints are stiff? What if your mind is not sharp when you wake up and your energy is not even throughout the day? These are potential dysfunctional symptoms which your doctor will miss because his parameters are all based on waiting for the diabetes to happen before the diagnosis, waiting for the high blood pressure before making the diagnosis. In fact, people that have heart attacks, half of them had normal cholesterol. So really, do you really want to wait for the diagnosis, or could you have a way to evaluate these things, particularly when you have symptoms? And at Next Health, that's what we do. What we're trying to do is use genetics. What we try to do is look at your biological age, your true epigenetic age, to be able to determine who's heading which direction. So those are the advanced testing that helps us predict and prevent disease, but really we have the tools to measure your function. So not only do we measure your blood pressure, what we're trying to measure is the central arterial pressure. The pressure around your heart is far more accurate than the blood pressure that they do on your arm. And beyond that, we can actually see how soft your blood vessels are. A softer blood vessel means a healthy body, and that happens when you have adequate nitric oxide. So when doctors tell you that you have borderline blood pressure, they're missing the point. By that stage, the nitric oxide levels have already gone to 50% and your blood vessels are getting stiffer, but they're not using the technology to evaluate these things. Hence why they can only find out the diagnosis once it's happened. The same with cancer. By the time they diagnose early cancer, billions of cells are already formed. What we do is use special methylation techniques on your DNA so we can see the cells as they're already going in an abnormal direction long before they're formed into a diagnosis of a particular cancer. So it's all about what's on the inside at the molecular level. And did you know that many of these symptoms actually relate to dysfunction, which then leads to disease? So for most people, there are 5 stages of cell decline. Most doctors diagnose when you're at stage 4 and 5. Why? For the same reasons that I said. By the time you have the diagnosis, by the time you have elevated blood sugar, elevated blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, when your body's not feeling right, when the brain is not working right, when the liver becomes fatty, that's because at the root of all those things is inflammation. It is oxidation. It's immune dysregulation. It's insulin resistance. That is just a simple one of our simplest levels that we measure, but way beyond that, we look at the epigenetic age, we look at the genetics, we look at the advanced hormonal, we look at advanced cardiovascular, we even look at the foods that create inflammation, and not least the root problems, as I said, inflammation, oxidation, immune dysregulation, insulin resistance. At Next Health, we have the ability to not only evaluate these things, but the most important thing is to be able to put together a program, a plan of action to actually address them. And so at the end of the physical, we show you the changes where blood pressure will come down, not only in your arm, but the softness of your blood vessels will improve. We can show you how blood sugars come down because we lower the insulin resistance. We will bring down inflammation. We will eliminate toxins. And not only can you feel better and you lose weight and function better and have more clarity and energy, but you will actually see your metrics. That's the whole point of evidence-based medicine. And what the traditional doctors is so old, so archaic, it's unacceptable. We need to think about 21st century ways of addressing 21st century problems, and the Next Health Executive Physical addresses it at a level that most doctors can't even imagine.